soaring eagles, developing breeds of excellence.
Don't be pushed around by the fears in your mind. Be led by the dreams in your heart. With this, I say welcome to the Mind series on the Soaring Eagles Talk Show. Today, we'll be dealing with the topic on the mind as a tool to build and as a tool to destroy. We have a wonderful guest here who is going to do justice to this. So please, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. My name is Travi Valentine Abayomi. I'm a pastor, a father, an entrepreneur, and also I work within the agricultural space and I work with young people as a pastor and a mentor also.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, the first question we have I have for you is that we need to understand what the mind is, because so many people don't really know what the mind is. Some people think it's the emotions, some people think it's the heart, some people think it's the brain. So one of you also understand what the mind is.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, the mind is actually a word that encompasses a very broad, it's a term that is almost all encompassing. It encompasses so many things. People use different aspects of the mind interchangeably without even knowing it. For instance, I will still come back to the definition of the mind. The Bible talks about your heart, and many people do not realize that the heart is not your biological heart. In the context of the scriptures, it talks about your mind. So the mind actually is the seat of your emotions. It is the faculty for which you reason. So the place where you have your emotions, your hunger, your thirst, where you have imagination, that part of you is that thing that is called the mind. Are you following me? I usually, whenever I speak to young people about the mind, I give an analogy that, and this is how the analogy goes. For instance, you don't know what I'm about to say, but I can tell you for you to know what your mind is, I will prove it to you right away. And I'm going to ask you to think about, or not to think about, jollof rice. You ended up thinking about jollof rice. And I can tell you that the jollof rice that came to your mind had chicken on it or some form of meat on it. You understand me? As I'm talking to you now, that part of you is constructing that. I can tell you, okay, you have jollof rice, you have chicken wings. It's creating the picture. You've got salad on the side. Suddenly you have salad. So that part of you that you use, to create your imaginative parts, it also is the part of you that controls your emotion. Either you're happy, you're sad, you're depressed, or either you're excited. It's also the part of you that controls your hunger. Oh, I'm hungry. Or it's also the part of you that motivates or demotivates you. It's also where you use to think. So that is the mind. It is separate from the spirit. It's also different from the body. But that is the mind. I hope I answered your question properly.
Yes, sir. So technically, you can refer to the mind as the soul.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. In another broader term, it is referred to as the soul. You understand? So the soul is the seat of the faculties, seat of emotion. So it's also your soul. Yes. The mind is also your soul.
So I can refer to my mind as the heart, but not my physical heart. All right. Well, so what are the characteristics of the mind?
Well, the mind is for you to say characteristics of the mind. I'll just give you one characteristic, which is the mind is powerful. The mind is a very powerful being, but powerful part of your being rather is a major part of you that can determine a lot about you. A lot about you. And I can tell you that so many things about your background actually affect your mind and actually affects the way you live your life. It affects your worldview, it affects your perspective to life, it even affects your everyday conscious living. So one characteristic of the mind, very powerful.
You made a mention of something. You said conscious. Um, so what is the nature of the subconscious and the conscious mind?
So when you're talking about consciousness, so when I said something about your consciousness, I'm talking about the things you do that you are aware of. Are you following? Like we're talking right now. Now I'm doing that consciously. I'm talking. I can reach out. I'm gesticulating. That is consciousness. That's what it means to be conscious. So your mind takes a lot of information from the environment, and conscious. Take as you want to watch a movie. You sit before the movie, and then you're watching the movie. You're taking in the information consciously. You get what I'm trying to say. But then the subconscious mind is that aspect of the mind that is actually very powerful. That information and data is coming in through your mind without you even knowing. I'll give you an instance. You're walking on the road and you heard a song. Honestly speaking, you do not want to even listen to the song, but somehow it gets entry into your mind. And you sit down somewhere thinking about something different, and suddenly you see yourself humming and tapping. That's the subconscious, something that you are not fully aware of or you're not fully controlling, but also it's part of your mind that takes in all these information and then processes them secretly. And what many people do not understand is that some things you do consciously actually sends us some subconscious messages into you and form the kind of person that you are. Like for instance, we grew up. Growing up, many people growing up in Africa, I'm sure they will tell you, "Oh, don't eat your food before the meat." You understand? And no, there is no explanation for that. But subconsciously, it is simply telling you that that thing is reinforcing the mind of poverty in many people. You understand? Because don't finish your rice before the meat. You get? Many people do not understand that it is subconsciously making you aware of the lack of meat. So don't finish your meat first. So that lack mindset is already being built. It just came from something as simple as don't eat. So consciously, don't eat the meat before that is your conscious mind. But subconsciously, the information is, see, there is shakba in this house. You understand? Don't finish the meat. We will not get any other one. Subconsciously, it is reinforcing the mind of lack, want, and poverty. So that's the subconscious mind. Some information you put into your mind without even knowing, but they form your worldview eventually. So I can go on and on talking about the subconscious mind. Let me give another example. Okay, so someone that I know, one day we were just talking and I just gesticulated, and out of fear the person cringed, and I was like, why did you cringe? The person thought I was going to hit him, and that's because there's in the past, you understand, that has now formed. So reactionarily, the person just reacted thinking I was going to hit you, but I was not. So that's the subconscious. So many things come into the mind that you do not know is forming the kind of person you are. So there are things that you're doing that you're unaware of. That there are information coming into you that you're unaware of. And that is actually the power of the mind also. This is the power that some people in the world, are you getting me, are now harnessing to control the youth, to control the populace, the power of the subconscious mind. You understand me? People have now introduced, especially in the music industry, let me use that as an example. They've introduced all sorts of things. They've introduced hypnosis. They've introduced transcendental meditation. They've introduced all sort of demonic things, all in the name of wokeness, into songs. And then many people listen to the songs. You think you're just listening to some beats and some words and some reading, but subconsciously, why is it that a particular group of people some years ago called themselves no manners? Because a particular musician started that movement called no manners. Those children that are saying no manners, they behaved in a certain way. It is almost like they are being formed. But how are they being formed? Nobody is sitting down teaching them this is how you need to be. They are listening to it from the songs. And so subconsciously, those things they are doing consciously is forming them. I hope you understand the difference between conscious and subconscious. Yes. Thank you.